So I'm talking to Steve Brule here, videographer, reporter, documentary maker, father, and all around decent guy.
That's
And
a good intro.
Steve was at,
Can you hear me okay?
and yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay,
Uh,
great.
and Steve was at a recent Queen's University meeting where they tried to disband the men's human rights issue group, or the group that was willing to discuss issues that faced men and boys at the Queen's University. Is that correct, Steve?
Yeah, that's right. The group was started by a fellow named Mohammed about 1 or 2 months ago, and they planned their first event, which is going on Thursday at Queen's, this Thursday coming. I think it's the 27th. And I guess there was a group on campus that didn't like the nature of the talk and tried to disband the group to have it de-ratified.
De-ratified. Yes, that was the correct term.
Yeah.
Now, was there a large group in attendance for the meeting?
Yeah, actually, I think it was one of the biggest groups that they've had, the largest attendance for a. It's called at Queen's. It's called the Alma Mater Society, and they decide things about student affairs, including group ratification, de-ratification, and all that kind of thing. So there was a lengthy discussion, debate about the nature of the group and the nature of the talk, and that went on for about an hour, which was the time limit that they were allowed for any new motion at the meeting.
Okay. Now, what were some of the claims that, and I'm pretty sure we're all well aware of the usual claims, but what were some of the claims that were made against males being able to discuss the issues they face on university campus?
Well, the biggest objection seemed to be the nature of the talk by Fiamengo, whose talk is specifically about women's studies and whether it's um, a credible academic discipline. So they objected to that quite strongly. And then they went on to suggest that some people were afraid of men's rights activists on campus. And something about, they tied this into claiming that Muhammad's group was promoting rape culture. So the fundamental argument was that the group was promoting rape culture and that some students were afraid of this group.
I'm going to just touch upon rape culture just for a second there, Steve. Have you ever heard of any men's human rights activists who, doesn't speak out against rape for both, when it happens to either sex?
No. The folks that I've encountered, I've been involved in this for about a year and a half, I guess, since running across the Warren Farrell protest at the cafe event a year and a half ago or so, or a year and 4 months. And no, I've never heard any promotion of rape per se. This was discussed, or the points were made in a kind of general sense. There wasn't a specific. There didn't seem to be a specific point made to show that there was some kind of promotion of rape there. It was more of a fear that the going down this road would promote this idea of rape culture.
So basically, they don't want an open and honest discussion on a very serious crime.
Didn't really get quite into that kind of level of detail. That it was more that they were afraid that this group was going to eventually promote or minimize the severity of rape in particular.
I find that very, very ironic how the definition of rape is, penetration and not envelopment as well. Shouldn't forced sex be the qualifying factor on whether it was rape or not?
Yeah, well, I'm guessing so. I mean, without having a detailed discussion, that didn't that level of detail didn't come up at all at this talk. This motion was specifically to de-ratify that particular group. And there was a lot of heated talk going back and forth, and most of it was indicated that there was fear there. There wasn't a clear basis for fear, but there was just a generalized fear that this group would um, uh, kind of minimize the severity of those kinds of crimes.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
Now, so do you know what the vote was?
They had a secret ballot, and actually, it was a very passionate discussion, as you can imagine, because there
Sure.
was a sizable number of men there who wanted to have a men's issues group, and were arguing for it. And then there was a sizable number of mostly women, but there was a couple of male feminists who were arguing that this group was not a safe group to have on campus. So that went back and forth for like the full hour, and then the board itself had a spirited discussion, and several interesting things came out during that discussion. That several of the board members were accosted through email and social media for defending this group and against de-ratification. So it seemed at the end of it they decided to have a secret ballot because I guess for the safety of the board, so they would not face some kind of repercussion for either either way they vote, whether to ratify or de-ratify. So the ballot was
I'm not interested
secret.
in how they voted, just like it was a 7-4 decision, or you know what
Yeah, they don't give out the numbers in a secret ballot. They just what they needed to de-ratify, or which would have meant to pass the motion. They would have needed 2/3 of approval, a 2/3 positive to pass the motion, which would have de-ratified the group. So they did not get 2/3. So what the actual numbers are, I don't know. They didn't say.
Yeah, okay. Now you said that they were receiving, I'm going to say, harassing emails.
Yeah, there was two fellows on the board who spoke quite passionately about not just emails but attack on social media. So this is public, public places like Twitter and Facebook.
Sure.
Because and the two fellows who spoke didn't even really know the group, didn't know what the issue were. They were defending the group's existence on the basis that there's not, they haven't done anything to justify de-ratification or not being allowed to exist on campus. So the defense was not in the substance of the group, but a defense of the group on the basis of they're like any other group. There's nothing special to de-ratify them. And so there was one fellow spoke quite at length, and he was visibly upset that the treatment he received for defending the existence of the group.
So basically, those two individuals were, defending, basically the rule of law. Without evidence, there is no crime, sort of deal, and that would be, I'm going to say, a social crime, right? Because what the gender ideologues are alleging. So there was no evidence of what they were alleging, and there were baseless accusations. And because these two individuals, upstanding individuals, have respect for the idea of without evidence, then there can be no conviction sort of idea. They were ostracized for it. Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, well, it's a very passionate topic amongst a lot of the students there. I don't know how broad across the university it is, but certainly the people who are interested in this topic are very passionate about it. Now, this is a university setting, so it's not this the kind of rule of law doesn't apply in the same manner there. It's because it's a within the university, it's not criminal or broadly social affected, although there may be.
Oh,
Are you there?
I lost you there for a second. I just want to qualify, quasi rule of law, the idea of it, but not in exactly as enforced.
Yeah, well, the big thing that came up was that this group hadn't even acted yet, and this was a significant point made by several of the board members, that the group came into existence 2 months ago or something like this, and this was their first event. Um, so they haven't even had a chance to um, to take any action that could be criticized. So that point was made by a couple of the board members that we can't really de-ratify a group who hasn't even done anything yet. So I suspect, and from the conversations that I had with a few people afterwards, is that this motion didn't have very much chance of passing, anyways. But
Yeah,
it would.
it never should have. It never should have had even a chance of passing. To judge, that's prejudice. That's exactly what they're. As far as I'm concerned, that's prejudice. That's what they're engaging in.
Yeah, there was another argument they made is that the Professor Fimengo they suggested wasn't qualified to talk on that topic. But the counter argument, of course, is that Professor Fimengo is a tenured professor at a respected Canadian institution and in good standing, and she's done research in this area. So that was a kind of a weak argument to suggest it that. Well, it's weak in several ways. One is, Professor Fingamango is qualified to speak on these matters. She's done research in it. But secondly, um, that's the talk. That's not the group. Professor Fiamengo's doesn't is not a member of the group. Doesn't represent the group. She's been invited to speak to the university staff and students and public, brought there by the group, sponsored. So it was a bit of a. I don't think this motion really had any hope of passing. Anyways,
I interviewed Dr. Fiamengo, wonderful woman, incredibly intelligent. Yeah, she, as far as I'm concerned, she is an expert on the situation.
yeah, and I think the right way forward in this, and this point was also made there, is to um, let her speak and listen to her arguments and challenge her arguments, challenge her ideas in a public forum. So that's the way it will go forward. Thankfully, that's kind of where we expect these kind of things to go.
Absolutely, free speech on.
Yeah, and I agree. Fiamengo is she's very eloquent on this topic, and I've spoken to her many times on this. She spoke here. Probably your listeners know that she spoke here at University. Yes, hi.
Oh, Steve, you
Yeah,
fell off there for a second.
I don't know what
So,
happened there. It could be on my end. I'm not sure. I'm running
yeah,
through my phone here.
yeah. I'm just going to tie this up. This bears a striking resemblance, in my opinion, to what went on at Ryerson University. And despite all those allegations, not a single incident. There was no promotion of rape. There was no rape culture endorsed. It was a clean talk. Highlighting the issues. Would that be a fair assessment?
Of Fiamengo's talk, you mean? Or
Well,
of
of this, uh, what I'm trying to get at is like Queen's University is trying to express the same concerns that were expressed at Ryerson University, and Ryerson University's concerns were proved to be false. Already have been proved to be false.
yeah, I mean, it is similar in that sense that there there doesn't appear to be a reason to be concerned about this particular talk or that particular group. So I mean, it'll go forward, and I suspect the same people who were objecting to it will probably show up at the meeting and challenge Dr. Fumengo, which will be very interesting. I'll be glad to see that as well.
I would like to see their questions. By all means, come on down. Express your opinions. Free speech. Let's have an open discussion about it. Let's not try and shut down open discussions.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um,
Yeah.
Now I just might have to make a trip out to Queen's University next week if since I hear things about this. But Steve, thank you ever so much for your time. I truly appreciate it, sir, and I truly appreciate you documenting and everything that goes on. You do incredible work.
Well, thanks, Dan. And by the way, there, if you go to at equalitycanada.com, their Twitter feed will have the some more details on what went on there. Plus, Janice Fumengo's speaking also at the University of Ottawa on Friday.
I
So
understand
there's
that.
back-to-back lectures there.
Yes, and I'm not quite sure if Dr. Fiamengo is religious or atheist, but either God bless that woman or may luck bless that woman,
Right.
depending on which side of the religion line she falls on.
Yeah, I don't know either. Maybe that's a question you could put to her on Thursday.
I, it matters little because truth is truth no matter where you find it.
Yeah, yeah, you got that right, Dan.
Okay, take care, sir. Thank you again ever so much.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Bye now.